What's up, everyone? This video is very close to my heart. Yes, you can change. Yes, you can completely transform your body, mind, and life. I did it, so you can too. And in this video, I'm going to show you how. If you want to completely transform your life, first you have to let go of your current story. You have to see those thoughts in your mind as thoughts. They're not real. They're not you. Disidentify from them by recognizing that you're the awareness that's aware of them. You're not that character in the story playing over and over in your head. It might seem real, and there might be so much emotional pain in your body when you're listening to it and believing it, but you are much bigger than the story. It's like a podcast playing in your head. If you were listening to a podcast and it was telling a sad story about someone who's stuck and can't seem to ever change, you'd listen to it as a podcast. You wouldn't actually believe that you're the character in the story. So, why are you believing you're the character in the podcast in your mind now? If you're having trouble and you seem to be completely hooked on it, take your attention away from it for a moment. Just notice what's going on around you. Drive your attention into your sense perceptions. Listen to the sounds without mentally commenting on them. Just see what you're seeing without mentally labeling it for a moment. Feel what you're feeling in your body. Instead of clicking off or scrolling on to the next distraction, actually feel your feelings for once. This takes your attention out of the mind and into the present moment. This is the blank canvas on which you can paint a new picture, write a new story. You're never going to do it if you keep believing the old story in your head. It's memories, mental images, ideas about yourself that aren't true. Yes, you may be experiencing a pattern, but the pattern can change when you take a step back from the story and recognize who or what you really are. The awareness, the presence. Be the awareness, be the presence. This is the foundation for complete transformation inside and out. This hit me the deepest after my ex of our 10-year relationship broke up with me all of a sudden one day. I was left with this pain, all this inner turmoil, and all these thoughts about me and what has been and what the hell am I going to do with my life now? Until one evening, I was lying face down on my bed in the dark, listening to The Power of Now by Eckhart Tolle. And I can't remember at which point it clicked, but at some point, suddenly I realized that I was in the room listening to this mental story. And I was suddenly a lot more aware of my surroundings. And the awareness of my surroundings started to become more prominent than the story and the thoughts in my head. And suddenly I realized that in this place, there was more silence, more gaps between the thoughts. And then suddenly I realized that as I sat in the silence for short moments, in those short moments, more positive thoughts would arise, glimmers of excitement about my future, a feeling of more freedom. And this set the foundation for all the monumental changes that followed. Next, you need to be driven by something deeper. You've probably been wallowing in self-pity for too long, right? Your whole life has probably become defined by what you think about yourself, who you think you are, and what you think you're capable of. You have all these ideas and thoughts that define how you think about the world around you and what your motivations apparently are. Now is the time to discover something deeper. Now is the time to tap into your deepest potential and your deepest truth and allow the motivation to come from there. Instead of letting your challenges define you and define your stuckness, turn them into power. So, you've had anxiety your whole life. Well, perhaps now's the time to overcome it and show others how you did it. So, something happened that completely fucked everything up. Then start changing it. Get your shit back together, recreate a sense of harmony, and then show others how you did it. And if you're not there right now, at least show others how you've been experiencing all this pain and stuckness, but it hasn't completely destroyed you, and you're not going to let it define you. Don't be the one that stays stuck in your problems. Be the one who transforms your problems into power. Be the one who transcends your apparent problems by recognizing that they don't define you. And you are this presence of awareness that's infinitely bigger than them. There is enough people in the world driven by the desire to get lasting happiness and fulfillment by what? Getting a ton of money or material things, changing themselves into some special person, or getting a new relationship that finally makes them happy, apparently. But perhaps enough things have happened in your life now to show you that this isn't possible, that it's a completely lost cause, that you get all the things you wanted and you still feel empty and stuck, or it comes crashing down around you and you're apparently back to square one. Be the one who recognizes that inner peace, love, happiness, and fulfillment have to come from somewhere deeper. And if you can't see it or feel it right now, make it your mission to look inside and start discovering it within yourself. Turn all your desires to get new shiny things on the outside in the desire to be yourself, to be free, and find the unshakable inner peace within you that can't be disturbed by any life circumstance or experience. That's what will make you attractive to the people that you actually want in your life. That's what will enable you to completely transform your body and your mind, because you are more than just your body and mind. You are the awareness, and you can create a new story. Have this new story informed by a deeper sense of who you are now. See that pessimism and nihilism and saying it's all meaningless anyway, so what's the point, won't get you anywhere. Look, if you really believe it's all meaningless, then a game is ultimately meaningless. A computer game, a board game, a match final. None of these things really matter in the ultimate sense, do they? But we enjoy them. We get invested in them. We lose ourselves in them just for the fun of it. Are you going to be the one who says, well, it's all just a game and it's all meaningless anyway? Don't be the party pooper. Be the life of the party. Play the game, knowing that it's a game, and knowing that if you play the game with enthusiasm, good sportsmanship, lightheartedness, and playfulness, you can have a ton of fun, experience the highs and the lows, and learn a ton of stuff in the process. I don't believe that it's all meaningless. Yes, ultimately, there is just what is, and any meaning we ascribe to it is ultimately the meaning that we gave it and not necessarily the ultimate truth. But in my experience, this life is like a school. Consciousness, the universe, is doing something, and it's not all for nothing. There's a deeper purpose behind all this chaos. We manifested in this form to play, to go through hardships and challenges and learn something, to learn about love, about fear, to learn about who or what we really are, and to experience all this contrast, all these things we don't want, all these things we do want, and how we created them, and how we create more of what we actually want and what's actually sustainable. Can you think of anyone great, anyone you really respect, that was handed it all on a plate and didn't go through some kind of harrowing hardship? No. All the great teachers, leaders, and masters that you really respect and admire had their challenges, right? Had their dark night of the soul. So why are you any different? You're not. You're the same consciousness, the same awareness, just dreaming a different story. But you can dream a new one. Once you have this as the foundation, to completely transform your life, you must heal your trauma. The reason why all these thoughts about who you are and how stuck you are and how you don't like yourself and it's so hard to change, the reason why these thoughts seem so strong and seem so real is that they're supported by all these suppressed emotions. You may have had years of tightness, tension, and contraction, work its way into the body so much that you're bent over and hunched over with your head forward and your shoulders forward, like you're constantly bracing for some kind of impact. And perhaps your child self was constantly bracing for some kind of impact. A parent that lashed out all the time, school bullies that wouldn't leave you alone. And now your body is stuck in the past when your mind is in the future. Listen, before I healed a lot of my trauma, I was almost constantly stuck in some kind of freeze state. My dad often acted like a menace when I was a kid, and after a few emotional explosions that had me almost fear for my life, I got stuck in this kind of frozen and traumatized state. And even though I had forgiven him and everyone else long ago, in my mind, my body still remembered. Even though to others on the outside I seemed pretty mobile and pretty confident, something on the inside was rigid and stuck until I did the work to get into the trauma and begin resolving it and releasing it. At certain points, as I was doing the healing work, it was like I'd get right into this feeling and hit something really deep. And a sudden kind of energetic explosion would just go off in my head. And the world around me and my thoughts about myself and everything else would suddenly seem very different. To completely transform your life so much that people don't even recognize you anymore, heal that trauma. Release all those stuck emotions. Get your nervous system to a point where it's not constantly jittery and triggering you into tension when you think about anything that seems challenging or scary, or you actually approach it, or it's firing off into overdrive when you get rejected or you don't get what you want that you've been struggling so hard to get. Transform your body and mind into a peaceful temple by resolving and releasing everything that's stuck in it. Awakening to your true nature and who or what you really are is immediate, but healing and releasing takes a little bit of time. And for most people, it's like peeling back the layers of an onion. And with each layer, you peel back and release, you're getting closer and closer to the core and exposing more and more of who you really are and what you're really capable of. Frame your healing journey not as some kind of arduous process that you got lumbered with, but as a gift, an opportunity to reveal inside yourself everywhere you're still not free, every old feeling, illusion, and old story that's been holding you back so you can release it and free your body and mind from the chains of the past. To continue the process of changing to the point of being unrecognizable, work on your posture. I can count on one hand the number of clients who come to me with good posture. Most of them have terrible posture, constantly leaning over and compressing all the veins in their neck and cutting off the blood supply to their brain. I was like that too. And I'm still working on completely correcting my posture, and I do posture correction exercises every single day. Terrible posture is completely normalized in our society. You might think, cutting off the blood supply to the brain, that sounds a bit extreme. Is it really that bad? Yes, it really is that bad. Scientists may find in a few years' time that bad posture is a contributor to all kinds of physical and mental problems, probably even dementia and Alzheimer's. Just walk down the street and look at everyone around you. Most people are walking with some kind of posture issue that's secretly slowly damaging them. And the only people that you really see fully upright are probably dancers, athletes, or gymnasts, or people that have done a lot of healing work. When you start correcting your posture, everything changes. For a start, you open up more emotional flow in your body. Just sit up straight, tuck your chin in slightly, and open the chest, and you can instantly feel that you can breathe better. You can feel more emotional flow in the body, so these emotions can begin to get unstuck and flow out. And you instantly look 10 times more attractive. And again, this might seem a bit extreme to some of you, but it's absolutely true. Your body posture affects your face, and poor posture has a massive impact on your face and affects its structure, so it's less functional and less attractive. You might find that you have to correct your oral posture. Yes, tongue posture, oral posture. Sounds weird, but many of you have heard of mewing, and it's true. I can attest to it. The whole structure of my face has changed, and I can breathe so much better through my nose now because 3 years ago, I made it my mission to correct my oral posture and correct my swallowing habits. Who would have thought that I'd reach the ripe old age of 35 and discover that I don't even know how to drink water properly? It takes time, but over time, your jaw gets stronger, your smile gets wider, and your nasal cavity opens up. Look, most people think all of this is extreme, or they hear all of it as bad news, and it's all too much and overwhelming, and they go into denial. And they deny that these things are even an issue in the first place because they don't want to have to work on it, and they're too busy protecting themselves against uncomfortable feelings. And that's why they don't change. That's why you see them years later and nothing much is different in their life. But perhaps because you got this far in this video, perhaps you're different. Perhaps you're absorbing all of these ideas and doing what I did. Instead of getting all bummed out about how many issues there are, get excited that there's all these things to work on. And wouldn't it be fun and wonderful to see the fruits of changing them and think, isn't it cool that there's all these weird things that I didn't know about that if I work on will make a positive change in my life and in how I look and I feel? And I think about how everything's going to get so much easier as I feel better and better in my body. And with time, all these new things that I'm capable of, and all these things I'll be able to do with more grace and flow. Now, it can feel super awkward and weird at first. When I first tried to assume a correct body posture, it felt like I was bending my body into a completely unnatural position. And when I was first correcting my tongue posture, it felt like my tongue was pushing outwards on everything inside my mouth with so much pressure. But what feels uncomfortable at first becomes comfortable and normal. What feels unnatural at first becomes completely natural. It takes time, but the fruits are worth it. You feel so much better in your body. You can breathe better, think clearer. You feel stronger and more empowered. In my experience, it's 100 times easier to fix your posture when you begin to heal your trauma. Otherwise, it's like you're trying to correct your posture, but your brain and your nervous system is pulling you right back to your hunched over position. Hey, I remember one of my exes always used to bang on at me about my posture, telling me over and over, posture, posture. And I wanted her to. I encouraged her to do it. I want to change it, I said. But she would get so frustrated because I never seemed to change for long until I was back in my usual position. Until one day, during a deep trauma healing session, something huge shifted inside. And I suddenly felt like my body and mind was bent into a new position, more open. And from there, staying in that position was so much easier. If you're taking on board any of what I'm saying in this video so far, and you start applying it, you're going to start experiencing radical transformation. But there's a few more things. To completely transform, you must be willing to take a huge leap of faith into the unknown. Start that business that you've been dreaming of. Go to that country that you've been dreaming of. Start something completely new. Look, if you want any encouragement, check this out. Before starting my business, I was an electrician for 15 years. Except most of that I worked in maintenance, and half of it was fixing door handles and unblocking toilets. And I still can't believe that they paid an electrician's wage for all that stuff, which wasn't much, but much more than the handymen and the janitors were getting. And this isn't what I wanted to do. At school, I dreamed of being an artist, a great musician. But I completely messed up college and fried my brain with weed whilst doing very little work, and I didn't even enter the final exams. So, after all that mess, I had to actually get a job, right? And I thought getting a good old stable trade was the best thing to do. Have a trade and you'll never be out of a job, they said. Nice and safe. Except 13 years later, I'm still doing the same thing, getting covered in shit, trying to unblock the staff toilets in the back of a supermarket, thinking, what the hell has happened to my life? I am not supposed to be here. After cooking up my business on the side for a year, I finally felt the call to pull the trigger and quit the safe job and take a leap into the unknown. And I can tell you, it set off all kinds of fear in my body and my mind. My mind was screaming, it's gonna fail. This is gonna go completely tits up. But I did it anyway. And now, for the last several years, I've somehow managed to pay all my bills doing what I love. I get to talk about all the things that are important to me. I get to make music for the meditations that I gift to you and my clients. I get to design artwork for the thumbnails and do bits of graphic design here and there for my logos and my branding. And yes, I still have to deal with my accountant and do my taxes, and there's been huge challenges along the way, but for a lot of the time, I get to do all the things that I loved as a kid. But it took a leap of faith. It took letting go of the old story and being open to new possibilities beyond my wildest imagination. Who would have thought that years later, I would be sitting in a cafe in Mexico with AI giving me feedback on my content and my business plans, and me telling it to dream up all kinds of artwork for my websites and my thumbnails, and it appears in front of me in seconds. Wild. It's just completely wild. And the biggest thing out of all of this, once you completely transform, you realize that your body, mind, and everything else around you has completely changed to the point of being unrecognizable. But there's one thing that's completely unchanged, and that is that you're still you. You're a different person, completely different person, but you're still exactly the same consciousness, the same timeless, ever present awareness in which your whole life unfolded. You're still the same dreamer, just dreaming something different. And God only knows what you'll dream in the future. All you can do is do your best to make it a good one by staying in the recognition of who you really are and allowing that recognition to completely transform your body and mind and shift it to an entirely new reality, one that's based on a deeper truth of who you really are. If you want to hyper accelerate your transformation, go to speaktoalex.com and book a call to chat about whether you'd be a good fit for our coaching with the Awaken Aware program. Serious inquiries, please. People that are serious about their transformation, please. Or keep watching to go deeper. Peace. Love you all. Peace.